15 kg category match. So I'll tell you more about how a RoboWar match is played. So whenever we have a match, it is played for around 3 minutes, and within those 3 minutes, if your bot is knocked out or unable to move, that is when you lose the match. Uh, or if you continue to play for 3 minutes, it depends on how many hits you give to the opponent, or how much damage your bot takes. So that's all point system going on in the match. And there are also big cash prizes when it comes to robotics. In India, we organize robo wars where prizes can go up to lakhs. So the latest event we did right now, in which was in NIT in Calicut, the first prize for 15 kg robo wars was 1.3 lakhs or something. So, and even our bots cost that much. So this bot Kratos here, which you can see, while making that bot, we spent around 80,000 rupees to make that bot, and even more goes into its maintenance. So depends, but still we play for fun. So that depends on how much enthusiasm you have in the bot. So that's about its cost. Now let me show you how do we design these bots and how do we make these bots. So when it comes to its design, we have a lot of things to consider when making a bot. So first of all, whenever we make a new bot, we decide in which weight category we are making the bot for. Say 15 kg. So we are making a bot for 15 kgs. So we will have to design the bot accordingly. So its dimensions, what materials goes into it, and all the electronics and motors, whatever is to be used for that bot should be considered before the weight class, because some weight class does not allow you to use components which are heavier and more powerful. So that everything is considered, and then we go to bot types. So right now the bot you are seeing in front of you, Kratos, is a weapon bot, 15 kg category weapon bot, and it is one of the types of bots that we see in robotics. So when it comes to its weapon system, this bot has a drum which rotates, and it is rotated by a brushless motor. So it rotates at quite high RPMs, which like around 7,000 or 8,000 RPMs in real, and the motors RPMs are usually quite high, but in the real the RPM goes up to 7 8,000. And then when it comes to drive system, we also we also use brushless motors for drive systems or brushed motors. You will learn about these motors. I think some of you'll have already learned about motors, and maybe students from sixth or eighth must have not learned. You'll learn about those. And there's material selection. So we have to be very careful when we select material for a board. So this board is made out of aluminum, and this board is a unibody board. So what we have done is we took a big block of aluminum, and then with a CNC machine, which is like a drill cutting machine for metals. So with that machine, we have cut the whole design of the board, and we have made one piece of body, which is then used for the board. So it is not bolted onto each other or like that. It is just one big body, which is cut out of a big block of aluminum, and then there are components which are come onto that. So uh, that is one way we can make bots. Or we also take plates and put bolts and screws and just put them together. That is also a way to put them. So though there are many ways. And then comes to electronics. So we have to decide what electronics we are going to use. For example, you can see uh, ESC over here on top of this board, which is from Mobitronics. And what ESC is basically, when you have a motor running your wheels, and the motor is drawing power from the battery, right? So it needs to be controlled. So that what ESC does, it controls the amount of power which is uh, given to your motors. So we need, whenever there are motors to be controlled, you need an ESC. ESC is basically a speed controlling unit, uh, electronic speed controller. So it controls the speed of your motor basically. And then assembly is done mostly by bolts and screws, whatever you can use, or welding also. And then testing, whenever your bot is ready, you have to test the bot first before putting it in the arena, and then know what your bot can do, what flaws your bot has, and then try to fix it. That's how the designing process goes. This is what a bot looks like from inside. There are still some parts missing. This to your right is Hades, which is a 30 kg bot, and I'll also show you videos of Hades. And the bot to your left is a 8 kg weapon bot. That's also similar to our bot Kratos, and you can see how the motors are placed very compact, and that's how the body goes. Is. So we'll talk about controlling now. For controlling the bots, we use these transmitters. These are called TX transmitters, and they are used. They use a receiver. You can see a receiver over here. So the receiver is connected to the bot, the ASCs and the battery of the bot, and these transmitters send signal to the receivers via radio waves. So you all must be knowing, some of you all must be knowing what radio waves are, and this is how we control the bot. These are the controller you see to your right, which is called a Fly Sky, is the most basic controller you can buy. And for starters, you can buy this controller. It's not very expensive, but yeah, it costs around 4,000 or something. So, or you can directly make your bot wired and use buttons or directly to control your bot without electronics, without too many electronics also. So these are the controllers we use. So before going to the other part, any questions or anything you all want to ask about robotics, about till whatever we have covered? You can put your mind and speak about it.
So
Yes.
I wanted to ask, means when we use the controllers, like example, you give the fly sky.
Mhm.
So like if we are controlling uh, the bot, if suppose like we take like a different, we put a new what we say like a new button which can turn around the bot, so it will go mostly in that.
So, are you talking about controlling your? I mean, tuning your bot on what buttons you want to control.
Yeah. Yes.
You
Yes.
you can do all of that on these controllers. You can use your models, which is you use each model for your bot. So you set up your model. You set up what controls you need to, what are your inputs and what are your outputs on the receiver. So you can modify all those things. You can put many different expos and stuff. So yeah, it's possible to control however you want to control your bot.
Okay,
Anything
sir.
else?
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else want to ask anything? Is there a camera in front of the robot? What you're talking about is FPV. So in combat robotics, we have only limited space for your arena. So I'll show you the arena right now over here. So these kind of arenas we have when it comes to combat robotics, they are not out of your sight anytime. So we don't use cameras when it comes to RoboWars. We just see the bot at your side and then control it while we see it with your eyes only directly. What you are talking about is FPV. FPV is mostly used in drones. Our team also has couple of drone pilots which use FPV drones. So what you do there is put a camera on your drone and use something called as VTX, where you can see what your bot see, what your drone sees. So that is called FPV drones, and you wear VR kind of goggles where you can actually see the view of the of the drone, sorry, in real time, so you can control your drone wherever no matter wherever it goes. So that is how FPV works. But no, we don't use FPV for RoboWars.
I think that was all the questions. Sir, you can continue right now.
Okay, so right now we'll talk about how do you start building robots. So there is not only combat robotics event which are held in India. There is also Robo Race, Robo Soccer, and many more events like these, where there which are relatively simpler than combat robotics than Robo Wars. So these events are really very uh, competitive, and these are really good for beginners which want to start robotics. So these are two bots which our team has made. Our team also makes Robo Race and Robo Soccer bots. So this is how Robo Race and Robo Soccer is played. Robo Race is basically they have a track where your robot should be able to complete the track, and the bot which completes the track within the limit time minimum time wins. And when it comes to Robo Soccer, you have a mini soccer ground like created for your bot, where there is a ball and you have to control the ball with your bot, and basically it's like soccer only, it's like football which you have to score goals with your bot. So those are also very interesting events which we participate in. So our team does workshops also. If any of your schools or colleges wants our team to come to your college and show you all the bots and show you how to build bots and many other stuff about robotics, we do that. So you can reach out to our team. uh, we also do on this is the first time I think we are doing a online webinar, or we do offline workshops. uh, so that's all about Robo Race and Robo Soccer. I would like to know if any one of you all wants to create any robot. So, or what kind of robots do you all think you all want to make?
Race.
Okay, someone said race. So making race bots is not very difficult. What race bots usually have is only four motors and the electronics that are required to four or two, no matter how many motors you use, depends on the design. So it's quite easy to make race bots. You just need motors and you need some maybe some joining elements like nut bolts, and you can prepare easily make race bot.
Will in race robots, can we control the robots, or we need them to have sensors?
So in Robo Race, we control the bots. Where you're talking about sensors is Line Follower. That is also a robotics event held in India. So in Line Follower, what happens is there is a line drawn on the floor, and you have to make a bot which automatically detects the line and completes that track for you. And you don't control the bot over it. It is called as Line Follower bot. And there you don't control your bot. But in Robo Race, you control your bots.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, can we do like there is a drone attached to a robot, and we can control like two types. Like the drone will be detached from the robot and will be flown in the air, and it will shoot the enemy.
Yes, that is possible. And when it comes to robotic events in India, where you have to compete, we don't actually require those kind of bots. But that is an interesting concept which can be used in other applications, maybe. And I think people have done that online. If you see videos on YouTube, yes, people have done those kind of crazy experiments about robots. And they,
And sir,
yes,
is our robot waterproof? like anybody can spit water on the other robot and it will not work.
In robotics right now, we are not actually very careful about water because we don't build bots so that it is able to take. I mean, it is not supposed to get wet basically. So if it happens, we actually stay a bit careful about it. But it is possible to make it waterproof if we design a bot which is able to take water. So it is possible we can seal the joints which are there. We can make the motors waterproof if we want to. That is possible, but right now the bots are not waterproof. Only in some events where
Sir,
the robo race, like where you have to go through water and all, there the bots are able to float on water and is controllable on water. But when it comes to robo wars, till now we don't use water or
sir, actually we can add like a plastic.
Sir,
Sorry?
if you're not good at controlling the robot, you will still lose even if the robot is good.
Yes, that is a very important point what you spoke about. So that's what controlling is. When no matter how good you build, how good your build is, how strong your robot is, if you don't control your robot well, it will lose because uh, at the end it comes to controlling. And when it comes to robo wars, controlling is very difficult and important also. See, there are in robo wars the level is very high, so people are very good at controlling their bot. That's why they win events. So if you cannot control your bot properly, then no matter how strong your bot is, the weapons are so powerful which can that they can also destroy your bot within seconds. So sometimes we have experienced that kind of things when our electronics go wrong or something happens to a bot. The bot doesn't work when you put it in the arena. So what happens is you basically have no control on your bot, and then the opponent comes and hits you. Your bot can have a quite good amount of damage, although it's made of metal. But the weapons we use are so powerful that they are easily able to cut through metal. They are easily able to destroy your bot within seconds. So
If the robot is hacked, will they pause the match or will they continue it?
if the robot is
Hacked.
half, I didn't get your. Can you pardon? If the robot is, can you type it out?
If the
Okay, hacked. It's very difficult to hack your robot, but what we use is we use receivers and we bind the receivers to our transmitter. So the bot can only be controlled by the transmitter that we use. So it's very difficult concept when it comes to hacking your bot, but no, it's not easy to hack your bot, and it's only under control of your transmitter.
Sir, how is it possible to control a robot? Sir,
Because
because we can.
it is not it is not possible to hack by someone else. Your robot is in your control because you have the transmitter which is binded to the receiver which you have put into the bot.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, actually, how do you control the robot? Sir, how does the transmitter work?
Okay, so I'll tell you how the transmitter works. So you can see the receiver here in this picture over here. So this has wires connected to the ESC which controls your motors, and uh, there's one more. There's this power supply to the receiver. So these three things are connected to the receiver, and this receiver is binded to this fly sky. So how it is binded is when we put a binding cable, we put a cable which is called a binding cable, which activates the receiver's binding mode. So what happens is when the transmitter is turned on, it detects that the receiver is in binding mode, and uh, it recognizes which receiver you are using, and then whenever you use your transmitter, whenever you give output from your transmitter, it sends radio waves to the receiver. It sends radio waves all around the place, and the receiver is able to communicate with the transmitter. and only this only your transmitter will be able to communicate. So it will know what your transmitter is giving signal. So what kind of signals your transmitter is giving, and these transmitters use radio waves and which are of specific wavelengths. So radio waves of only those frequencies and wavelengths are used, which are able to communicate with the transmitter, that is receiver, that is binded.
Sir,
Yeah,
Excuse me, sir.
one at a time.
They can add hammers.
Hammers. Did you say hammers?
Yeah, to the bot.
Yes, there are bots with hammers. In India, we don't see too many bots with hammers, but if you see battle bots, there are many bots which use crushers or hammers, which are lifted. Because to lift a hammer, you need a hydraulic system to lift it, right? It's very heavy. So putting that system on your bot increases your weight, and a lot of things are considered when you put a complex system like that. So a rotating drum is easier to is easier to install on your bot rather than a hammer. So that's why most of the bots in India don't use hammers. But yeah, it's possible to, and there are bots which have hammer which can crush this. So you basically
sir,
the hammer and drop it on the
sir, can you make a bot which can divide into two?
which can split itself into two different bots. You're saying?
Yes.
Uh, yes, it is possible, obviously, because you can create two different bots and just give an attachment to them, and whenever you split it, you can split. But then you have to look at rules. There are a lot of rules when it comes to RoboWars. You can do it obviously when if you want to, just if you're making a bot for just fun. But when it comes to RoboWars, there are a lot of rules you have to follow, where you cannot use two different bots. You cannot use uh, flying systems or something like that. But yeah, if the rules permit, obviously you can make a bot which splits into two. Basically, you can just make two different bots, and you can make the design as such that they fit within each other. And then whenever you want to release them, you just press a button and release the bot. That's
So
possible.
could we use an axe, like put an axe on the robot?
Sorry, what did you say?
Axe.
X. Okay, which cuts the wood or something.
Yes.
Yeah, there are n number of weapons. I'll show you some of the weapons. Yeah. See, the bot to your left has kind of X thing, but it is a rotating disc. So that's
Yes.
what rotating objects are easier to put on your bots because it can directly be driven by a motor. That's why they are more efficient and useful. But yeah, you can make any kind of weapon that you feel like. But for those, you will require hydraulic systems to lift them again and drop it. So you also have to have that kind of impact to damage the other bot. Otherwise, it's of no use, right? So that's why it is more complex and not uh, preferred by many of the teams.
Sir, can there be a draw in bot fighting if one robot just runs around and is not turned over, or hit, or something like that?
Yes, a very rare cases there are that it can be a draw, but we don't see draws too often because obviously when it comes to RoboWars, you need your bot to win, and as the time goes, as the 3 minute match goes, you tend to attack the other bot because you want to win, right? So, and when there are hits, there are obviously differences in points because each damage is not same amount of damage. So when you give damage to other bot or you take damage, there is always a difference. And the judgment is based on how good your controlling is, how much damage did your bot give to the other bot, or is your bot able to maneuver properly? Is it working, or is there any damage which has stopped your bot from working? So yeah, those things are considered, and yes, there can be a draw, but very rare.
Emit smoke? So we can emit smoke to confuse the other robot.
Sorry, to confuse what?
Can we emit smoke to confuse the other robot?
Emit smoke. That also depends on the rules. If the rules permit, yes, you can put smoke. What are they called? Smoke this thing, machines. Smoke machines can be fitted, but I think they are also very heavy, and that's what your bot is limited by the weight, right? So you can so say the weight category you are playing in is 15 kgs, so it's difficult to fit everything in your bot. So that is the main task which is to be tackled by the teams, because you have to put a weapon to destruct the other bots. Also, you have to make your drive system, motors for your tires. Then you have to make an armor so that your bot is not easily damaged. And there are lot of things which come into the the limited weight. So team
So can we put cutters on it?
cutters, yeah, basically these discs are cutters like only. But what kind of cutters are you talking about specifically?
Like metal cutters.
These weapons which we make are already very powerful to cut through metal, so they are effectively, you can call them also metal cutters only, but yeah, they are good enough to cut your bot into pieces.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir,
Sir, could we make something to literally just puncture the tire, sir? Because if we do that, the bot won't be able to move.
Yes, the bot tires of the bot do get damaged, but puncturing these tires is not possible because these tires are completely filled with rubber. So the tires we use
Okay.
are mostly
So can you literally just cut them off?
yes. Sometimes the tires itself fly away, so they don't remain on your bot. It depends on the build of your bot. If it's weak, you get a hit on your tires, you lose a tire. So you lose basically all your control over your bot. So that's why controlling is very important. You are not supposed to let your opponent attack your tire. So when it comes to controlling, it is very tough to control your bot and keep it away from other opponent's weapon, or you itself is difficult to attack the other bot. So it is very difficult. But yes, it's like video games only. Like you have to have that sense. You have to get used to your bot. You have to practice, and then you can control your bot very easily. And then there are a lot of things considered when it comes to controlling.
So for the bots, like suppose I have more hits, I have more hits and all, and the other fellow destroys my robot at the end. Who wins? The person who destroys the robot or the person with more hits?
If before the time ends, say there is a 3 minutes match, if before the time is stopped, if your bot is destroyed, you cannot control your bot. So the one who destroys your bot wins. With the bot which is still intact and is able to run wins the match.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can we add
Excuse-
more than one weapon on our bot?
Yes, obviously you can put weapons, but still the same thing. The weight limits you. The only thing which limits the bot from putting more weight or putting more weapons or different kind of weapons is your weight limit. So that is the most difficult part when you design a bot, the weight limit.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sir, my doubt. I have two doubts, sir. Sir, firstly, why aren't there any hover bots, sir, which like can hover just above the ground?
I'm talking. We are talking about Robo Wars. So in Robo Wars, mostly we don't use that kind of drive system, because it is when you build a hovercraft or a bot which hovers, it's supposed to be light, it's to be delicate. It becomes delicate because of the properties of your bot. So that is not a very tough bot for taking hits and all, right? So, but there are events where you are supposed to build hovercrafts, and then you have a track which is to be completed.
And sir, my second doubt is that why don't they put several of the same weapons on the same board, just built out of lightweight materials?
Yes, you can do that, but when you build your bot out of too much lightweight material, it should be strong as well, right? If you don't use strong material, one hit on your bot can destroy your bot, so your weapons will be all over the place. So then it is no use.
So you can use like carbon fiber, because carbon fiber is like super strong, but it's also like light.
Yes, carbon fiber is also expensive and difficult to fabricate. So making a bot out of carbon fiber is possible, but it is expensive and it doesn't let you. It's not worth it because when it comes to carbon fiber, it's too expensive. And when you see the prize money which goes into these events is less. Already with the teams which build these bots already spent more than what they earn in RoboWars. So when it comes to cost, it is already very high. But using carbon fiber for your chassis will be too much out of the budget.
So what you're trying to say, if we lose, we can be in a loss. Am I right, sir?
Yes, yes, you can obviously go in loss because, for example, now this bot we made, Kratos, it cost us when you built it, it cost us around 80,000 rupees, and even in maintenance we have spent lots of money into it. But whenever we go for events, for example, we won the event in VIT, which was in Vellore. So there the first prize we won was only around 40 to 50,000 something. So you do not always profit from these robo wars, and it's not we don't participate for profits. We just participate for fun. So yeah, that's about the mm, cost because we don't benefit anything from it. But still, we have to take care about how much money we put into it because uh, when you don't win too much money, you don't even have also too much money to put into it. So we have to maintain our finances like that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if we add small wheels,
Small.
wheels,
Sorry.
so the wheels will not get damaged also.
Small wheels you're talking about. Like if you're saying these are too big and you can use small wheels so that it doesn't get damaged, right?
Yes, sir, and it will be also lightweight.
Yes, you can put small wheels, but it depends on your design. It is not possible to use very tiny wheels, so you have to maintain some diameter so that when there are uneven surfaces, your tire should be able to rotate, and your bigger your tire is, the more speed you get. So you need speed as well because the bigger tire is, the bigger is your circumference of the tire, right? So in one revolution, you cover more area. I mean, the more distance you cover with your boards. So that's why we try to uh, we try to bring it to a diameter where it is optimum, where it is not too big or too small. So that's how these dimensions of these tires are decided. So we can't put very small tires because you won't get that speed, and sometimes your design also limits. See, if the bot is, say the bot you're looking at right now, with the green tires, it is around its height is around 10 to 15 centimeters, right? So you have to put a tire which is bigger than 15 centimeters so that it touches the ground. Otherwise, your tire will touch nowhere. It'll take you nowhere. So your design also limits the size of your tire.
But so speed is also a disadvantage sometimes. So if
Okay,
you
sir.
bang like into the wall, you may lose many parts. Like teacher, if you bang into the wall.
Yes, but your speed is controllable. That's why you have an ESC on the board, which you're able to control the speed. When I talk about speed, it is the maximum speed I'm talking about. Whenever you require maximum speed, you have that. And on your controller, you can obviously control your speed and control your bot however you want. So you want to make your bot go slow, you're able to do that. I'll show you some matches now. I think we only have 10 minutes with us. So I wanted to show you more of some action, some matches, weapon matches. So yeah, any other doubts can be cleared.
Yes, sir. I want to ask a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, so if we take our robots and we make the robots little bit higher from the length, so if we make it more than example like more higher than like a printer and all. So if we make a more higher and more broad, will we be able like to put more things in that?
Yes, that is how you design your bot. We can make a bigger bot, but then you have to put more material for that bot. If you want to make a uh, bot which is bigger than what you expect in these events, then you have to put more material in your body. You have to use more material that increases your weight. So basically, in these events, the dimension is not the limit. You cannot. There's no limit for how big your bot can be, but there's the weight, obviously. So within that weight limit, if you can build a bigger bot, yes, it is allowed, and then you can put all the stuff in your bot.
So can you use humanoid bots in these competitions?
Humanoid. So are you saying automatic bots which are able to fight by themselves?
No, so like the robots which looks like a human but is controlled by the the competitor.
Okay, so yes, the according to the rules, there is no restriction of what a robot is. If you are able to build that kind of robot within the weight category, there are categories like 60 kg where yes, you can build a robot like that, but it won't be very competitive when it comes to robots because you have to make it tough as well. If you see a humanoid robot and if you see one of the 60 kg bots which I'll be showing you right now, you can make out why the humanoid robot won't be able to survive against these bots because they are built like tanks. They are built so that they become very tough and they are able to destroy their opponent. So if you make a bot like a human body, its structure is not that strong that will be its overall structure, if you see that weight limit, won't be as strong as a block of metal. So these bots are like built like within an armor, right, of that much dimension. It's like a box or a circular circular cylinder in which we put all the tiles because these shapes are very strong. And what is that? Okay, I was reading the chats. So these structures are very strong when it comes to robotics. That's why the structures are used and not structures like a human body or moving parts.
Okay, sir.
So I'll show you some more match videos. After that, we can continue our discussion because you will be very fascinated looking at these videos. Okay, and then we can continue with more questions. Okay, so this is when our bot Kratos went against.
I don't fight for myself. I fight.
Yes. This is Team BSP versus Team Black Diamond. show you another match of a 60 kg bot. So these bots are 60. Yes, someone wants to say something. Yeah. Yeah. Did anyone?
So I'm saying the way the robot fell near the the car tires,
Yeah.
it directly jumped. So there's a control like that it can directly jump.
No. So what? Okay. What happened here is, you see the weapon of the. I'll show you them. I'll go back to the video again. Second. You see the weapon that is in front of the bot. It is a drum. It is a rotating drum which is shaped like a what can you call it? It's like it's not circular. It's not a round cylinder which rotates. It has a specific shape where it is able to attack your bot. It is able to uh, give damage to your bot, and it's a very high output. The hit. So the drum in front, which rotates, hits your bot, and it throws your bot in the air. The bot is not it's not able to jump. It is thrown away by the weapon. So that's how the bot was thrown away.
Okay, sir.
The weapon is so powerful that weapon hits the opponent properly. So when you get a good bite like that, your bot can be thrown even further away. This is not the maximum movement in the show. Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
so by the throwing, the robot doesn't get damaged, or it's shaped in the way that it doesn't get damaged by the hit.
No, it gets damaged. It here you can't see too much of damage, but yes, it gets damaged. The metal.
The hitting robot.
No, that depends on your drum, because when we design the drum is hardened. The drum is made of see, the drum of Kratos is made out of metals which are really strong, like EN24 or titanium, and then these metals are hardened. So what hardening is, it is a manufacturing process where your metal component is heated to very high temperatures, and then it is dipped into some kind of liquid, oil or water, which cools down the material very very quickly. So what happens is the outer surface of the metal becomes so hard that it can take any kind of hits. So these components are hardened and they don't easily break like that. So they are able to take that amount of impacts, and they are designed. Only the drum is mostly hardened because you cannot harden the whole chassis because it's a complex design. But yeah, the drum is hardened. That's why it doesn't damage it by itself.
Okay, sir.
Now, till now, the matches we have seen are all 15 kg category, 60 kg category.
Wanna waste what's left, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
That was a 60 kg match. You saw the 60 kg bot just fly in the air like it was a piece of plastic or something. So that is the level of impact these weapons have. And yeah, this is how RoboWars is held in India. These are the combat machines we built and we participate in events like these. So any other questions or anything you want to ask me about combat machines or robotics? Anything else? Are you sending the quiz? Aaron, is there? It's time up, right? Can I continue further with questions or?
If the students have any more questions, I think maybe a couple more questions. Students, we can take 2 more questions. Students, do you have any questions?
Are those fighting robots coded? We create the ESCs or some electronics, but no, it is completely controlled by the controller and it is controlled by uh, transmitter that we have in real time. It's not coded. Yes.
So, what will happen if we put cutters in all sides of the robot?
Okay, are you talking about weapons like rotating cutters which can cut your bot all the sides of your robot, or just blades or something?
Yes, sir.
So you can make that, but that is also a limit where you have to put motors for each of the cutter and you have to put a lot more electronics on your bot. It will take your bot again out of the weight limit. But yeah, if you can make a bot which falls under the weight and you're able to achieve that, then yes, it's allowed. There is no restriction of what your bot will be or what strategies you are using. It's completely on you. The only restriction here is your weight limit. So within that weight limit, you can build anything that it comes to your mind, and it's open. There is no limit to what your idea can be, what strategies you can put into your bot. Yeah, it's open. So you can build any bot and then test it. So this is what it is when it comes to engineering and building and stuff like that. Your creativity is everything at the end, where you think out of the box, you build your bots, and then comes your result, where what your machine is able to do and how good it is. So yeah, that's all. Anything else?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
What was the smoke that came out after the other opponent lost?
Okay, the smoke which was there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it can be a lot. What happens is when you have these bots have batteries inside them, right? So to power this thing, there are a lot of batteries and a lot of components which are flammable. So
yes, sir.
So when batteries are damaged, they tend to catch fire. They have chemicals which have very high energies inside them, which can be released very quickly when it gets damaged. So it tends to catch fire. So many bots catch fire like that. You have to be safe with them. The bots are not just you cannot just be unaware of the dangers it has. You have to be very careful with the bots. So they might catch fire. And here, I think in this case, the bot had caught fire. That's why they put a fire extinguisher on the bot. So I think most of the smoke was from the fire extinguisher, and some will be also from the bot's battery, which was damaged because of all the hits.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think we'll keep that as the last question for today. Students, if you all have any more questions, you all can look up BHP Robotics on their Instagram page. I think Siddhank sir is also this assistant manager of that page, so you can ask questions from there itself. Okay, I think that was a wonderful session we had over there. Yes.
So when are you sending the quiz link?
I was just about to get to that. Okay. So I just wanted to thank Siddhant sir for that wonderful interactive session. I think that the students had a lot of questions and you answered them beautifully. Okay. So we will have the quiz right now. So I request the students to keep their email ID as well as a working phone number ready with them. Okay. Okay, students, are you ready for the quiz?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Sir, is it
Okay,
a
so
Yes,
partial
sir.
for
but the
most
chat
part
is off.
correct?
okay, so the quiz is live now. You can all answer the quiz. Thank you, Siddhant sir, for spending your time with us. And with that, I would like to conclude this session. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, and would you is the meeting over?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions you all have? You all want to interact, or any doubts you all have about robotics, or you all want to start with robotics and you all don't know what to do? You all can anytime approach our team. Uh, we'll share the Instagram handle with you. We are team BHP Robotics on Instagram. You can approach any of our members. If you all want, I'll also share my contact information so that anytime you all want to, you all are interested in robotics, you can contact. And we also conduct workshops for schools. So if you all would like to have us, if you all would like to have our team come to your school with our bots, whatever robots we have, we can show you. We can show you how the bots work. We can let you also play with some of our bots. If you all would like that, we can always come to your college. You can talk to your faculty from your college, I mean your schools, and then we can try to come to your schools and conduct workshops.
Sir, I want that.
Okay,
Okay, and then
okay, okay. With that, you can contact either me or Siddhant sir later on. Okay, after the meeting. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you. Okay, thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
did you send the link?
Yes, I sent the form link. It is in the chat box right now.
Yes, sir. Have a
Sir,
nice day.
actually, I did not receive it. Can you please
Yes, sir.
resend it?
Oh, okay. I'll resend it.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. Stay safe, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. So, who are yesterday's winners?
Yesterday's winners have already been announced, and today's winners will be announced on our Facebook page. Okay.